This video is sponsored by CuriosityStream. You can watch a full-length companion video to this one when you sign up for the Nebula and CuriosityStream bundle linked below. Hey, what's going on, friends? So in this video, we are talking about something that I haven't covered on this channel in quite some time, which is personal finance. Specifically in this video, we are going to talk about the single habit that more than any other allowed me to save up around $300,000 in my various investment accounts over the last 10 or so years since I started investing money back in college. Now, that number on screen right there is not intended to be a flex of any kind, and it's also very much not intended to be something you should be comparing your own financial situation against. The only reason I am putting that number on screen right now is to give a specific and concrete example of just how powerful the concept and the habit that we're going to talk about today is. And that habit is called financial automation, or automating your finances. This is something that I talked about in my recent video on 7 books everyone in their 20s should read, and I had a few people asking me to explain it in a bit more detail, so that is what I'm doing in this video. So essentially, automating your finances means first identifying the habits and the actions that you need to take to meet your financial goals, be it buying a house or getting out of student debt or saving for retirement, and then taking those actions and handing a lot of them off to a robot, or to be more accurate, to a computer or a piece of software or website that takes care of these actions for you. So in this video, I'm going to teach you exactly why financial automation is so powerful, why I practice it in almost every area of my life where I can do it, and we're going to go through specifically how I automate my own finances in 2 key areas: bill automation and investment automation. So first, let's start with the why. Why do you want to go through all the trouble of setting up financial automations? Well, there are a couple of key benefits here. Number one, you get access to a safety net and to huge peace of mind, because when you automate your finances, you will never miss a credit card payment. You will never miss a bill payment. If there's something you are supposed to pay, it is going to get paid, even if you're on vacation or you forgot to do it, or I don't know, for some reason you're a sentient bear watching this video and you're going to go hibernate for the winter and sleep for 3 months. Doesn't matter, your stuff is getting paid. Additionally, when you automate your savings and your investments, your consistency goes way, way up. And as a result, you're almost certainly going to invest and save a lot more over the course of your life. In fact, that is the reason I've been able to save more than $300,000 over the past 10 years. Back when I was a sophomore in college, I opened my very first investment account over at Vanguard. And because I had read about financial automation in that book that I recommended in a very recent video of mine, Your Money, The Missing Manual by J.D. Roth, I set up an automatic deposit from my bank account to that investment account every single month. Now, at the time, it was very small. I think I started out with $50 a month going in there, just a little bit of money from my part-time job being invested. But over time, I increased those amounts, and as I got into my career, they became significantly larger. And the most important thing is that they were happening every single month. And this consistency can be incredibly powerful. And I want to give you just a small example of that. Say I would have started investing when I was a baby back in 1991, super smart baby Thomas, and I was putting $500 a month into essentially the entire stock market, an index fund that tracks the entire stock market. That's $500 a month, which adds up to $6,000 a year, or $180,000 over the course of the last 30 years, from 1991 to 2021. But if they had done that consistently and they never took any money out of the market in the meantime, their money today would be worth $1.6 million. Imagine saving $180,000 and turning it into $1.6 million. It sounds crazy, but it's actually something that can be done quite reasonably by leveraging compound interest and by being consistent in your savings. And think about the person who is doing this manually. If they're going in every single month and making the decision to invest in the market or to move money from their checking to their savings account, that's 12 times a year they have to go in and manually do that, which means that they are potentially setting themselves up for failure every single time. They might forget, they might be on vacation, or they might justify to themselves that they need to spend the money on something else this time, and hey, I'm just going to get back onto it next time. I totally swear, man. That's 1 month they missed that the robot certainly wouldn't miss. So for these reasons, I think learning to automate your finances is one of the most important personal finance habits that you can learn. But there is at least one preliminary step that you should understand and make sure you have taken before you start doing it, especially when we're talking about investing. And that is establishing what is called a cash buffer. And to explain that, I actually want to show you something that I've been developing in my spare time called the personal finance tech tree. So I grew up playing games like Civilization, where they had these tech trees. You had to learn things like metallurgy before you could learn ballistics, things like that. And I've always thought about my personal finance journey in a certain way that's kind of similar to that. I have to do certain things, either learn certain things or hit certain financial milestones before I can move on to the next thing. So I've been thinking to myself, could I create a sort of actual map for these different financial milestones? And I've been working on this in a tool called Whimsical that I want to show you here. So basically, I have these little mapped out paths here for things like savings, regular income, installment loans, and basic budgeting. But the specific part that I want to zoom in on right now is the 1 month cash buffer. This is what I think you should establish before you start automating your finances. And we can see here that this leads to first a 3-month cash buffer and then to the start of your investing journey. But the real reason you want to make sure you have a 1-month cash buffer is if you are automating your investments, you are automating bill payments, you're automating deposits from your bank account into maybe an investment account or a savings account, and you don't want those automations to draw your bank account down below zero. So essentially a 1-month cash buffer is a buffer of cash for 1 month's expenses beyond what you're going to spend this month. And when you have established that in your bank account, you can be sure that your current expenses, your bills, your investments, your savings, your debt payments are never going to draw your bank account down to a negative balance. Once you've hit that milestone, I think it's a very good idea to start looking at how you can automate different parts of your financial life. So let's now talk about how I automate the bill payments in my life. Basically, anything that is a regular monthly payment, I have on auto pay if I can do it. So that includes my mortgage, that included my rent when I was paying rent for an apartment, that includes my utilities payments, so internet, gas, electric, water, and that includes every credit card that I have. And to go on a bit of a tangent about credit cards for a second, I do not use credit cards as credit cards. See, a credit card gives you access to credit, which you might even be able to tap even if you don't have that much money on hand. I do not view credit cards that way. For me, a credit card is simply a pass-through vehicle for money that I already have and that I was already going to spend. I simply use credit cards to get access to airline points and different perks and to build my credit score over time. And I always pay off my credit card's balance in full every single month. I have never once paid a cent of interest to the credit card companies, and I think that is a goal that all of us should aspire to. The credit industry calls people like us deadbeats because we don't make the credit card companies a whole lot of money, and I think everyone should aspire to be a deadbeat. That being said, maybe you have some credit card debt right now that you can't pay off in full, but what you should at least do is what I do. Go into your credit card and enable auto pay, at the very least for the minimum payment. And the huge reason for this is that your credit score is determined by several different factors, but one of the biggest is your percentage of on-time payments. And even one missed payment can be a huge ding to your credit score. So I always auto pay my credit cards because it is a safety net. Even if I get knocked out for 2 months for some reason, or I get lost in the jungle for some reason, my credit card is going to get paid because the auto payment is set up. The other area where I use financial automation in my life is with my savings and my investments. So I have some automatic rules with my bank account to have money transferred from my checking to my savings every single month. And then I have some different investments that are automatically funded and deposited every single month as well. The main one is my 401k through my company. That money goes into the 401k account before I even pay myself my payroll. And if you work for a company that offers a 401k, it's a very good idea to do this, especially if they offer matching, because that's essentially free money. And then I also have a few different taxable investing accounts, basically non-retirement accounts that I automatically invest into as well. Now, there are some good habits to practice in addition to financial automation that are going to make sure you don't run into problems in the future. And I think the first one is to put bill due dates on your calendar. You at least want to know when your bills are going to be charged, even if they are automatically being taken out of your account. You basically want to stay on top of your finances. And the second big habit actually kind of goes into the exact same idea here. It's to do what's called a monthly review of your finances. Essentially, the robots are taking the actions for me, but every single month I'm coming in and I'm staying on top of all of my accounts. I'm making sure I know where all my accounts are, how much money I have, and overall, I'm making sure that I have a clear picture of my personal financial health. I think only a fool sets up machines and then doesn't check up on them every once in a while. So by checking up, by making sure I know everything that's going on, I prevent myself from getting blindsided. In fact, I take this one step further. I don't just check over my balances. I actually have a custom-built spreadsheet that I made to do some financial planning, to actually look over my average income, my average expenses, my average savings and investing goals. And I even have formulas that will show me how much roughly I'm going to pay in taxes, what my take-home pay is going to be, and my percentages split between how much money I'm spending on my car, my housing, how much I'm saving, and how much I'm investing. I even turn this into a completely free template that anybody else can download and use. But what I haven't done up until this point is actually make a video showing exactly how I use it and how it works. So I have finally done that. I've made a complete and full-length companion video to this video going into how I use this template and how I plan out my financial decisions, and I've uploaded it to Nebula. In case you haven't heard, Nebula is a streaming service built by both myself and a ton of other fantastic educational creators. And on Nebula, I upload my videos that you see here on YouTube, both early and completely free of ads like this one. It's also a place where we can experiment with content that might not work very well on YouTube, such as, a long and in-depth video on my budgeting strategy. And there's a ton of other great exclusive content on Nebula as well from a ton of creators that I personally love. My friend Ali Abdal, for example, has a series called Workflow where he goes in depth into the tools and workflows that he actually uses in his business and in his work. And Real Life Lore, one of my absolute favorite channels that I've been absolutely binging lately, has a series called Modern Conflicts on Nebula. It is just as long and high quality as his normal videos, but it covers some more controversial topics like the history of the North Korean, South Korean War, things like that would almost certainly get demonetized on YouTube. So he puts that on Nebula, and I have been absolutely loving that series. But the best part about Nebula is that it comes bundled with CuriosityStream, which has thousands of high quality documentaries that you can stream from almost anywhere. And right now, when you sign up for the CuriosityStream and Nebula bundle over at curiositystream.com/Thomas, you can actually get 42% off of the yearly annual price. You can literally get Nebula and CuriosityStream for a full year for less than $12. It is seriously the best deal you're going to find in streaming. And once you do have access to CuriosityStream, one documentary that I've been enjoying recently that I'd like to recommend to you is called The Ascent of Money, which tracks the development of money and goes into the history of it. It's a really interesting series, so I think you're really going to enjoy it. And beyond that, there are thousands of other documentaries covering economics, science, technology, nature, and tons of other topics that can expand your knowledge of the world. So to get access to all those great documentaries on CuriosityStream, as well as Nebula with all my early and ad-free videos and all those exclusive videos on Nebula, you can go over to curiositystream.com/Thomas or click the link on screen right there to sign up. Thanks as always for watching. Hopefully you found this video helpful. Hopefully you learned something new. And if you did, hitting that like button for the algorithm would be much appreciated. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next one.